We are on the tube. We are on the YouTube. Back
There
into the
it
week.
is.
What
There
is
it
up? This is your exclusive
is.
content. Again, every week we're going to start off with your exclusive content that the podcast, no other podcaster gets. So exclusively, what's up, YouTube? How you doing? We're here.
We're
We're excited. We're fired up.
So fired up. I'm cold.
Fired up. I'm cold. I'm
I'm
freezing.
wearing a beanie. I never wear a
I'm
beanie.
inside and I have layers on.
I know,
Practice
bro.
was freezing. In my defense, practice was freezing. So
I have no doubt.
it was cold.
It was like in the 40s, 50s.
It was cold. Yeah, it started in the 50s and it was 40s. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, that's cold, dude.
All that to say, what's up, YouTube? We're now going to bring in the podcast, bring in the other viewers. But we love you. Keep watching us on YouTube. Keep watching us. Keep checking us out. There's a lot you could watch on YouTube, and we appreciate you for checking us out.
Appreciate you guys so much.
Yes.
But here,
yes, we do.
Hold on. I'm just trying to get, everything going.
He's got a lot. He's got a lot he gets going, people. All right. I understand that. Believe that. All right.
I don't know why the
believe that. Singing on the YouTube.
All right.
Here we go.
And we're going to hit that. Here we go. Nope. Sorry, YouTube. I have to record still.
Nope. Nope. Just kidding, YouTube. You get to hear that song twice. YouTube gets all the mistakes, and I love it. I'm here for it, dude.
Oh, man.
Hey, we're not perfect creatures. We are what we are. All right.
We're not. There we go.
There we go.
And we're going back. Take two.
Yes. This intro always just gets me going. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like that says something so positive about an intro when it gets us going. And I hear it every time I get fired up. I'm like, yes.
It doesn't get old, dude. That's how you know it's great.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Like, when you're listening to Eminem, like we were talking about earlier, his songs just get you going. No matter how many times I've been listening to him since I was in middle school, and every single time, like, dude, this guy is so talented, and he gets me pumped every single time. Like, I could do whatever. I could run like 1,700 miles with all of his albums. I'm playback.
Especially workout.
Exactly.
Like, I'm here for it. It's like, dude, let me just get in my head. You know what I mean? But I go back and forth, dude. Like, sometimes I'll throw on like Zombie, like I'll go a little old school, I'm like, hey, here we go. Oh, wow. I like that song. I don't even know what it's from. I can't even say that it's old school. I just know that the Korean Zombie walked out to it for a long time in UFC. Did you see him retire, by the way? We never talked about this.
No, I didn't.
It happened a while ago. This Korean Zombie is this amazing UFC fighter. Mm-hmm. And he would walk out to that, right? Like, if you've never heard the song, he's like, zombie, like the whole thing, right? And it was cool.
Yes. Yeah, it was in our group chat. Yeah, now that I think about it.
Yeah, we talked about the group chat. But it was from the Cranberries, I believe.
Right.
But it was really neat when he retired. Like, he retires, he gets not unfortunately. I guess if you're his fan, unfortunately, he gets knocked out. He's walking out of the octagon, and they turn that song on, and just to hear like 60,000 people, whatever it was, I don't know how many people it was, like, singing the song, like, just the impact he's had on the sport.
Right.
I don't know how I went down that rabbit hole, but I did. And that's our goal, is to not keep it brevity.
Like, just get us going, bro.
Just get us going, man. How's your day today, Big Z? How you doing? How's your weekend?
What did I do this weekend? I went up north to see my buddy Sam, so that was cool.
Sammy.
He bought a house it's about 9 months ago, but I haven't been up there to see him or see the house. So he got some land with it, 55 acres. So
okay.
That was fun, dude. Walking around with the dogs and him, and just loving on that land. There's literally nothing out there. So I love that. Just super quiet. It was a nice little escape from the city, and then came back Sunday. Watched some Niners lose to the Rams.
Yeah, buddy. Battle of backups.
That's right, baby. You won it somehow.
We did it. It was really funny though, seeing both teams do the same exact, like no, like Debo, I think played a couple snaps. Like it was not like Nakua got the record. Hold on.
Nakua got the record.
He did it.
Congrats to him.
Most receiving yards, most receptions for a rookie, just a dog. Like just a dog from BYU. Who saw that coming? Not me.
Sean McVay.
Sean McVay
saw him coming, and Sean McVay saw Kyron Williams coming, and the rest of that team coming. So good for him.
You know what's funny? I was talking to Jason about that today. Like, I think what makes the Rams special, and this is probably biased because I am a Rams fan, but I think what makes them special is what those receivers do, right? Like we heard about Pickens not blocking for his running back.
Right.
Like you never see that. Like Cooper Kupp is always blocking down the field. And it's apparent when Kyron goes and you see Cooper Kupp blocking on the field. Like when you see the Triple Crown former winner blocking, I think it sets the tone for that locker room. And I think that's honestly what Sean McVay is looking for, because you look at Cooper Kupp, he's not the fastest. He's not the biggest. He's not the most quote unquote talented, right? Like he's just not, but he's a hard worker and he's a student of the game. And I genuinely think they're onto something that's clearly, I don't know, I'm summarizing that, but it's clear that they have some sort of thing that they're looking for, like some sort of combination of like hard work and work ethic. Like they're able to identify that in players, because again, Puka Nacua is sort of the same. When the last draft happened, he was not being discussed, right? It's like, oh, he's a top receiver. He's the next guy. You had all these receivers getting drafted before him. And yet here he is breaking rookie records. And again, I don't think that I think if you ran the combine back today, he would still not be the guy that you would look at and be like, that's going to be the guy that breaks the records. He's not the fastest. He's not the biggest. He's not the quickest, but he has that intangible, that hard-working intangible. And I think that is what the Rams have been able to identify on both the defensive and the offensive side of the ball, really.
I feel like that's an NFC West thing, like because the Niners have that same type of culture. Every single wide receiver is blocking for them. They're not necessarily stars. Like the Niners have made them stars. Like they've really had their coming out party, since they've joined the league. But, Deebo Samuel, he went to South Carolina. He wasn't a big name. He was a later round draft pick, and he wasn't really, on the scene until like his second or third season. Same thing with Brandon Ayuk. He went to ASU. A lot of big names come out of ASU.
Right.
George Kittle, same thing, Iowa. But all those guys are always blocking down the field. They take pride in that. And I think that's what sets, the NFC West teams apart from the rest of the league. And that's why, you usually have at least 2 or 3 teams making it into the playoffs from that division. And a lot of the times it's, we beat each other up, and like sometimes one team makes it, but it's because of that hard work, of that culture that's set, from the get-go, from training camps. Like, you're going to work hard. I saw Javon Hargrave. He's a interior D lineman from the Niners. He was on the Eagles last year. And he said that the differences between the practices, the Eagles and the Niners, it's night and day. Like the Niners, you work hard. Like you don't take days off. Like they're working them, to the core, super hard workers. Compared to the Eagles, it's just kind of like, just walking in emotions. But I feel like that's the Rams, that's the Seahawks, the Niners, the Cardinals even. So yeah, man, it's pretty cool to be fans of, teams like that who won't accept anything else but that type of culture, but that type of hard work.
Right. No, I 100% agree. And I think you see it from top to bottom. Like, and it's easy to say like Debo, right? Like, cause that was the name that came to mind, but that's like a great point. How many people have we seen like even Cordero Patterson, right? That's maybe a player that at the apex of his career, could you compare his game to Debo? Like, is he a receiver? Is he a running back? Right. We don't know. And yet, look at, like, he was sort of a flash in the pan, right? He had a couple good years, but all of a sudden he's not relevant any longer. And yet here's Debo still getting the job done. I think Cordero had 1 or 2 big years. I apologize if I'm mistaken there, but it certainly wasn't the length that Debo has now had. Debo's been a star for years, right? And it's also about, I think, a coach's ability to utilize the players that they have, right? Because so many times, we just discussed it, right? You looked at the Colts and what they were doing. Right? Why do you not give that ball to Jonathan Taylor? And so many coaches, they have these schemes and these ideas, and this is this play and this is that play. But the great coaches look at what they actually have and they say, look, I'm throwing my schemes and my stuff out the window because I'm going to make it fit to what my team is. And it might be a very similar scheme. It might be the scheme slightly skewed. It's like, no, this is my receiver. I'm going to go get, I mean, look at the Dallas Cowboys offense since the emergence, the true blue emergence. And I've been on, this is not, if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, oh, you're late to the bus. Everybody is already on his bus. Everybody's already on the train. I've been on CeeDee Lamb for years talking about the talent of this guy. And it seems like this year, Dallas has finally accepted that he is the true blue number one, that he is the dog, that you just throw him the ball multiple digit times a game, right, and he's going to be just fine. You get it to him double digits, good things are going to happen. So until you accept the team that you have, the roster that you have, right, in years past, we got to get the ball to Pollard. We got to get the ball to Elliott. We got to work through this. We got to work through that. And now, no. CeeDee Lamb runs this offense, and this is the most dangerous Dallas team that's ever been. And I think a lot of that comes down to, are coaches willing to change their systems based on what they actually have, you know?
Right. Exactly. And that's why Arthur Smith, for example, got fired, right? Like
100%.
You have Bijan Robinson, you have Drake London on the outside, you have these studs, and yet you are so prideful and so stubborn about your system, saying, oh, I got to get guys like Jonnu Smith involved. I need to bring in a 36-year-old Cordell Patterson, like a guy who, yeah, like you said, had a couple of good seasons, but is just not there anymore. We're going to bring in Tyler Algier in, and where he's going to outrush Bijan Robinson because the scheme says it, because I need to share the ball around a lot more. No, like, know your guys, know your personnel, and fit your schemes and your systems around those guys. Like, there's a reason why you drafted Bijan Robinson. We were saying that about Dan Campbell at the beginning of the season with Jahmyr Gibbs. And
right.
We were just so confused as to why he wasn't using that such a talented player. And as the season went on, you finally saw him implement him more into those schemes, and it really benefited them a lot. You know, it's David Montgomery still got his, but Jahmyr Gibbs just took their offense to another level. That's what a good coach does. He adjusts. And so the coaches that don't, they're on the way out, right?
Right.
They don't have a job anymore. So it's a great point.
Yeah. Let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Arthur Smith, he's gone.
Yeah.
They didn't even wait a day.
No.
Like, they were like, hey, that night you're out, dude. Like, we're done. You're done. Clean out your locker, whatever it is, whatever coach, his office, right? Yeah. He cleans out his office. But again, it's so hard to explain, right? When you lose, if he's winning and he's not feeding the rock to Bijan constantly, it's like, all right, but he's winning, right? Like, look at the proof is in the pudding. It's in the field. It's the same reason that, like, there's people who would like for Shanahan, like, why did Shanahan get a pass for drafting the wrong quarterback with his third overall pick? It doesn't matter because Shanahan's winning. He's winning games. He found his next quarterback. It doesn't matter, right? When you're winning covers a multitude of sin. And unfortunately for Arthur Smith, it just didn't, right? When you look at overall offense, they're not even top 10. Let alone top 15. So if you have a talent like Bijan Robinson, who experts across the league, we're talking about at Texas University, this guy broke the record for yards after contact. This is a hard-nosed runner. Yep. We got you this guy. We went out, we drafted him, and everybody kind of looked at us like, what are you doing? Because you have Algier, who just is coming off a 1,000-yard rushing season last season, but you still went out and got him. This was clearly going to be your horse. And not even just that, also the tight end situation. When Kyle Pitts isn't your most targeted tight end, right, and he's arguably one of the best talents that we've seen in the tight end position, it just doesn't make sense. And finally, even Drake London, right? Yes. Drake London, you look at the talent of Drake London and what he's capable of. It's almost impossible to believe that all-purpose yards, this team would not be top 10 with the weapons that they possess. I mean, you look at a team like the Panthers, it makes sense that team would not have the records because, look, they don't have the pieces, right? They put Bryce Young there. They didn't get offensive pieces. Their best receiver this year was an aging Adam Thielen, and it's not a shot at Adam Thielen. He still had a great year. But again, the idea that you have the weapons as a Falcon is like literally all they need to do is plug in a decent coach and a decent quarterback, and they are probably rolling. So I just, it's not surprising to me that he's gone. I will say I was slightly surprised the Falcons let him finish off the season. Respect to them, I guess. But I mean, ultimately it ended ugly. He was yelling at the Raiders, Raiders coach last game of the season. So,
pretty embarrassing. Pretty embarrassing. Look, also on the flip side, Jameis Winston was a dick. Sorry, an a-hole for shutting down Dennis Allen's audibly in the call and faking the QB kneel and then scoring when they were already up 41-17. So I guess you could look at it both ways. But
I didn't mind him.
That's why Jameis Winston is not a starter and not a good leader in this league.
I didn't mind him. I didn't mind him like putting it up to the team, his team, to like, should we get somebody a touchdown? I did mind that they faked the victory formation. Like, I understood, especially what Arthur Smith was saying when he's like, when they did it out of victory formation. Like, if you're Jameis, right, and this is the road you're going to take, like, if that's what you're going, then line up a normal play and like let the Falcons know, like, hey, we're running this thing. Like, we are going to run this in with Williams. Like, usually I'm very much on the side of, hey, usually for me personally, I'm on the side of, if you don't like it, keep them out of the end zone. Like, I'm very much on the side of that. That's usually where I fall. Having said that, this one, I was like, dude, you lined up victory formation. You're beating these guys ruthlessly. Like, just kneel it. And if you're not going to kneel it, then line up in a normal formation. Yeah. So they can at least call a timeout and be like, hey, they're not kneeling it. They are going to run the ball. And I think that also goes over better, right? Because then you can explain, like, look, we really wanted to I get it, because the guy, Williams, he didn't have a touchdown all year long. So they really wanted to get him into the end zone. I'm not sure why that matters. He's not the starter, but hey, it's for their camaraderie. It's for their team. I don't mind that. I don't mind Jameis Winston talking to them like, hey, do we want to get this guy a touchdown? Once you decide that, though, like, audible completely out, right? Like, audible out of it, so that it's like a run play. Give them a shot to stop it, because faking victory formation up 41 to like 3 or whatever it was, that's not a good. It's not great.
It's a bad look, but it's also a bad look that Dennis Allen told him to run the victory formation. Like, he said, do not score here. Like, finish off this game here. Like,
right.
And that's a blatant, just like, I'm not going to listen to you. Like, I don't care if that you're my head coach. I'm going to do what I want for the team. Like, it's just not a good look for Jameis Winston, in my opinion.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. At least audible out. Like, if you're going to do it, audible out.
Right. If you're going to do it, at least give them a shot to stop it. Don't go in victory from, like, when he was like, if we score, I think his response is like, if we score, from the interception, is it still a jerk move? But it's like, that's not what happened. Right. Like, you lined up victory formation and then you faked it. Like, that's messed up, dude. Like, just line up in a normal formation. If you're going to do it, line up in a normal formation, let everybody know. And then again, it's also a bad look for the Saints moving forward. Like, what do you do? Right. Yeah. I mean, the coach said something, and if you're going to be a football player on this team, you've got to listen to the coach. Credit to James. He did apologize publicly, said, look, I'm sorry to him. But again, he did it. Right. So at the, like, what do you do moving forward is my, like,
right. It's like,
situation, what do you do moving forward?
They don't respect the coach.
No, clearly
Allen. Not. So I don't know. Do you cut Jameis? Or do you move on from Dennis Allen? Like, he gave you a winning season.
I mean, you already paid Derek Carr, who seems like, outside of a handful, and I like Derek Carr, but outside
he was hurt all year. Like, when he was healthy, he was fine. Like, he did.
People forget that he's hurt. People forget that he's hurt.
People always forget everyone's hurt. Like that,
right?
Until it's their team, and then they're, oh, well, So Derek Carr, when he was healthy this year, he did what Derek Carr does. Like, what you need to expect from him.
Right.
You keep Derek Carr, but you may need a new leadership voice and a new head coach potentially. That was just case in point. That it
was bad. It was a bad look, and the worst part was it was at the end. It was at the end of the year, right? So like, all of a sudden, the Saints now are going into the offseason with even more like, I don't know what we're gonna do, because like, there's not another game, right? Like, when turmoil like this happens, teams like to turn the clock. Like, no, we're on to Miami, right? Like, we're on to the Bucks.
It's like,
there is no two. They're going home.
We got to figure it out.
Playoffs. So they're going to have to figure something out, right? They're going to have to wait till next year. I mean, look, I get it. There's a lot of people who are probably listening to this like, guys, he got his guys back and, keep him out of the end zone. And usually I'm with you. Usually I'm there. Like when the Dolphins were running it up on the Broncos, I was like, yeah,
That's
hey,
fine.
if you don't like it, stop them.
Yeah.
But don't fake victory formation. That's ruthless. I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen a fake victory formation. I've seen fake spikes, right? I've seen a fake spike of the ball to end a game where they Aaron Rodgers, I think, did it. Matt Stafford did it. That's cool because they're both you got to be ready, right? It's a close game. He's spiking the ball for a reason, try to get the touchdown. You got to be ready for this. Right. This was not one of those plays. This was we already won the game. The game's already in hand. And now you're faking victory formation. That's it wasn't a great look. And then, like you said, the coach come out also. It was like, dude, don't admit that. Maybe go talk. I will say, maybe go talk. I respect him for standing by his position. I didn't tell him to do that. But maybe talk to your players. Maybe just have a 2-minute meeting before you hit the podium.
Well, that just shows you the disconnect, bro.
Right.
That just shows you it's
a bad look.
Players don't like him. He probably doesn't like Jameis. I don't know. That's not even disrespectful to your coach, but that's disrespectful to your colleagues on the other side of the ball.
Right.
And then also, did he talk to his defense about that? Do you think his defensive team would like that? The guys on his team play defense? Do you think they would like that if the Falcons did that to them? No, it's
well, I think publicly they'd probably come out and be like, yeah, we want a Williams score. But I think privately, there's probably when they're in their car, right? When they're in their cars, what if somebody do that to us? Oh, that would suck. Yeah. The problem that I had with it, I'm going to say this right now. The problem that I had with it was victory formation. I have zero problem with you scoring a touchdown there. And even if you're disobeying your coach, which is not a good look, even if you are disobeying your coach, I have no problem with this, but be apparent, be transparent so that when you audible, your coach is talking to you hey, in your helmet, what is going on out there? And you run the play and then you come back and say, look, coach, I talked to the guys about it. And then the coach at least can come out and save face. Cause now the coach looks like kind of a jerk too. Cause he's like, I told him not to do it. I don't, it's almost like a parent who's lost complete control of their kid. You're in the supermarket, the kid's just sprinting around. You're like, whose kid is this? What's going on? It's no control. It's just not a good look, man.
No, not at all. Not at all, man.
And I'm not judging any parents, dude. There's hard days, dude. Our win this weekend, let me just throw this out there, okay? Just so that nobody thinks I'm my soapbox of parenting. Dude, we are team no sleep this last weekend, bro. She is running the show. She got a little sinus thing. It's the saddest thing you've ever heard in your life because babies can't breathe through their mouth. For those people that don't know, babies can't breathe through their mouths. So if their nose is clogged, it's like it's the end of the world. And so she can't breathe and she lets us know it. And we're just and that cry, just dude, it kills me. So I'm not gonna let her just lay there. The boys, my sons, I felt like I was gone so much that maybe it just didn't impact me as much. But with her, I'm just oh my God. I have to save her. I have to get in there.
Terrible. It's terrible, dude.
It's awful. It's awful. And so
sad. Yeah.
She so we've just been on high alert, red alert there, I think I told you right before we started the podcast, I had practice tonight. I ran in, just got down on some quick dinner, 2 seconds, just scarfed it so I could get on. We can get this podcast out to the people. So I'm not, believe me, all right, I'm not judging any parent out there. No. I've been there.
We've all been there, bro.
I've looked at everybody in the restaurant. My kid is sprinting around. I'm like, look, you know what, dude? This might have ruined your night, but this is my life right now, bro. No, I'm just kidding. But in other news, the Titans. This one's a little bit. No, actually, let's get to the more other obvious one before we do this one. Ron Rivera's gone. I don't know that Ron Rivera. This is the second team, right? He was with the Panthers and they were losing, and then he came to the Commanders and now they're losing. So I don't know that he should necessarily just walk into a head coaching spot. He's a little bit old school. I think, probably defensively, maybe, he could probably be an asset to you. Yeah. Look at a guy like the Cowboys defensive coordinator. He was coach of the Falcons Dan Quinn. He was the coach of the Falcons when they got blown out. I think this is probably one of those situations if Ron Rivera is willing to accept it. Maybe he's not, he could easily retire with the money he's made. I don't know his financial situation, but either way, I'm sure he's fine. Does he accept a role like that? But Big Z, do you think he could be it? I don't know that I necessarily want to see him head coach again. I don't know.
I don't know, man. This year, he couldn't adjust.
No.
They lost their last 8 games of the season. They just always seemed like they didn't really know what the answer was with the quarterback situation. Offensively, again, you talk about a team that has a lot of weapons. McLaurin, Brian Robinson, like Gibson, guys like that. And, they do that poorly in offense. It's pretty apparent that, you don't know what you're doing there when it comes to play calling and stuff. So, yeah, I don't think you can just walk into a job right now. He had a couple good seasons with Carolina. He led them to a Super Bowl, but a lot of things just went right for them, in that season, which just happens to the good teams. But it just wasn't. It didn't happen over and over again with them. So yeah, man. I think he retires. He already retired from Carolina, and then he came back after a long absence to coach the Commanders. So I think it's time. Unless you're willing to adjust and hire someone like a really good offensive mind to run that offense, because you're more of a defensive coach. But that's a big pride thing for a lot of coaches, and they're not willing to do that. And so you kind of find yourself in the situation you're in there. So yeah, he should probably just step away, do some. He can be on TV. Fine. That's what a lot of coaches do. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think we need to see it. He's had a couple quarterbacks that, haven't done terribly like elsewhere. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. We'll see where he goes. I wish him nothing but the best. Obviously, he's been a tenured coach. You hope he does well.
Yeah.
Maybe go take a call. Like, have fun. Maybe go take a college team. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, go have some fun, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, freaking Harbaugh. A little Harbaugh action. Yeah. Go take a team that needs some leadership.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, I'm sure he's a great leader. But he's just
leader of men. Kids could use him. They could probably use that discipline.
That's right, dude.
That's
right.
All right, now getting on to the surprise firing. The surprise firing that we were about to talk about. Vrabel is gone. That's okay, crazy, the Tennessee Titans coach who has made them relevant, the dumpster fire that is the Tennessee Titans, and somehow has made them relevant, right? Like he's got more winning seasons, right? Of his 6 seasons or whatever it was, he's got 4 like winning seasons. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't understand, bro.
He deserved more than this. He certainly deserved more than this.
It's just so confusing me because I swear I read an article like 3 weeks ago, and that the Titans came out and told him that he was fine. Like, regardless of whatever they finished the season at, like his job was safe. And so I really don't understand what's going on. Like that was like the one good thing that you had going for your franchise. Derrick Henry, obviously the king, like he's probably not going to be there next year. So he's on his last legs with the team. Will Levis, still, we don't know what Will Levis is going to be, but Mike Vrabel was always that consistent voice in the locker room, in the media. The whole team rallied around him all the time. And so you just look at that and you're stunned, just to be honest. Like, there's really just no words except to be that I'm just really just stunned about it. That Vrabel is going to have so many teams calling his agent. Like the Chargers, the Patriots, who still have Bill Belichick under contract, all the Commanders, all the teams that don't have a coach, and maybe some that do have a coach, are going to be calling him because he's that good of leader. He's a Hall of Famer as a player. Like he obviously knows the game of football super well,
right?
And he's a leader of men, like you said. Like we need a team needs one of those types of guys that can just lead you and can lead you through good times and bad times. And that's what he did. Like he was able to get that team in the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill. Like that's saying a lot, And so,
I don't know that I see him as like a California coach. Like when you think about Shanahan's always got the hat on. He's got like a signature look. Like, he's a young, cool guy. Like Sean McVay, I really see him. He's a Patriot, man. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's like in their ceiling already, right? Like Pat McAfee was talking about it today. Like, I think, dude, it's there. Go home and turn that franchise around. You're gonna have to find you a quarterback, because I'll tell you what, we know now. Well, all right.
We knew before.
You and I knew when they drafted him. Like, we were like, what is this pick? Like, he played.
What are they doing? What
like Mac played. I never understood like Mac Jones. It's like when you play for Alabama at some level, you got to look at the receivers. And the receivers for Mac Jones are pretty stinky good. Like when you look at their offensive line, look at the running backs.
Right.
Right. When you look at all the star talent, the star power they have, it's like, look, was this kid really that good, or was he just surrounded by such better teammates than everybody else? You know, that he was. Right. Is he going to be able to succeed at the next level? I don't know. But Mac, we knew. Mac was like, no. So you're going to have to find you a quarterback. But this is a great year to do it. I mean, you got guys like Penix, for crying out loud, going under the radar. You didn't have a great national championship game. You know, not a lot of people know the name of Bo Nix, who, you know, actually has 10 more touchdowns than Penix. I mean, there's a lot of
yourself some Bo Nix.
I love me some Bo Nix, dude. And nobody's talking. I feel like I just feel like this is Justin Herbert all over again. Now, granted, there's somebody out there that's saying, well, Justin Herbert hasn't won anything. Touche. Like he's got the talent. It's just not panning out. Right. Like he's just not for whatever. I mean, but the Chargers just are dumpster fire. Exactly. But to me, it just seems like this is another Oregon quarterback that is not getting love because he's West Coast. And I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of things when reality is all the kid did was win. You know, he lost to Washington twice. Washington was pretty good. We just saw that. So, I mean, I would take a shot on him. I personally would love like a Bo Nix to come and just sit under Matt Stafford for like a year, 2 years.
No, Bo Nix needs to start where he goes.
No, let him come to us. Let him just chill. Let him just chill.
No, bro.
No, you just want us to get him. You just want us to get him. You want to rub it in my face. You got Brock Purdy locked up for the next umpteen years, and he's super young.
Don't you want your boy to thrive in a system and just go get him?
Yeah, I do in my system. Yeah. In my system, I want him to sit for a year.
Selfish. You're being selfish.
Yeah.
100%. You're not actually. You don't actually love him.
I do. I want to be patient with him. I want to make sure he blossoms.
No, he doesn't need patience. If he's as good as you're saying, and he doesn't, you don't need patience, bro. Like he just needs to fly like a duck.
Like a duck. I think V formation. I do think he'd be better than a lot of the guys that like a Will Levis. I think he's a little more accurate.
Oh, I think he's better than Drake May. I would take him over Caleb Williams, to be honest.
Dude, we're gonna take so much heat for this. But I just don't get it with look, I like Caleb Williams. I think he's a good quarterback.
He just doesn't, he's not a leader, bro. Like every single time that they were down by a touchdown and beyond that, you just saw him on the sideline pointing fingers at people and whining and never rallying his team around him and say, hey guys, let's go get this. I got you. Like we're going to go down the field and score. Like I never saw that. I never did. And I could be a little biased. I'm not the biggest fan of USC, but I just always saw him whining on the sideline. And if that's the attitude you're going to bring into the NFL, forget it, dude. Like you have dudes that have been in the league for 10 plus years on that team. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to throw you out.
See,
dude. So
I don't mind USC as much as you do, but I will say this. My issue with him is not necessarily like, dude, who knows? Maybe he'll be a good quarterback in the NFL.
Could.
But my issue is that, like, at the start of this year, the words we were hearing was once in a generation talent. And I don't get, we just saw CJ Stroud. Like, stop throwing those words around. So CJ Stroud just took a Texans team who couldn't win last year. They won like 1 game, 2 games. And they're in the playoffs. Stop saying once in a generation, right? Like Justin Herbert came in the league, 4 years ago? Joe Burrow, 4 or 5 years ago, right? Like Patrick Mahomes, 6 years ago, whatever it was. Like the league is still predominant. Like Josh Allen is still pretty young. Like don't stop saying once in a generation. Like, like a generation is long, right? And so when I see that once in a generation, this guy can change. He didn't turn around USC. Granted, they didn't have a good O-line. I'm not going to sit here and say they did, but the idea that you're going to not dominate in college football, but you're a once in a generation talent.
Exactly.
I just don't follow those stars. I don't follow those dots. So I'm with you to the level of, I think there's some questions that could be asked.
Like we talked about on the podcast. It was like, oh, he's not going to come out. He's going to choose his NFL team because he doesn't want to play for a perennial loser.
Right.
Like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, the NFL is bigger than you, bro. Like,
our take on that is yes.
Did you ever hear that from CJ Stroud's mouth?
Right.
No, you didn't. Do you really think that Caleb Williams, if you flip-flop that situation, you put him on the Texans, do you think that he would lead them to the playoffs this year? No.
No way. No
through
way.
all the adversity, all the injuries that
his
receivers went through, that he himself went through? No way, dude. So
No.
that's what I'm saying. I think that he has the talent. I'm not saying once in general. I think he has a talent to be a good quarterback in the league, but his leadership is also something that I'm looking at as it's kind of suspect, right? Obviously, you can change it. Of course, you have plenty of time to change it, but you need to change it quickly if you want to be successful in the NFL.
You're gonna have to change it quickly. And again, my same thing. That take is the perfect summation of what we've been saying.
Right.
The issue that we have with this kid is not could he be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Sure. Okay.
Yeah, good.
Like somebody's gonna hear this and like he's gonna take a team and be like, 6-11. They're like, look at, see, he can start and he like made this team, they're like 500. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is everybody's talking about this kid at the start of the year like a generational talent, and that doesn't make sense to me because there's been some really, really, really good quarterbacks who have come out before that are coming out with him. I'm sorry, but if you're an NFL scout and you're not considering Penix and you're not considering Nix, you're not considering some of these other kids with him. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense to me. It would be another example of how I don't understand what the NFL is doing. By the way, before we get into the playoffs, just real quick, shout outs, by the way, Michigan, right? They won.
Congrats.
I was right. I did it. You were wrong. I was right.
100% wrong.
Boom.
Jim Harbaugh, congrats to him.
Huge.
Finally got the championship that he was looking for. And, today I was looking at it, I was like, he's been a coach there for 10 years. It's just crazy to me how time has flown. And like the first 6 years, it was just, it was bad time for him. Like had to, he came into a bad program. And luckily, the AD and that whole staff, athletic directors at that school gave him the time and they were patient with him. But the media was just on him, jumping on him so much. And, finally, though, when he was able to get his coaching staff in there, his players, a full recruiting class, then things started to turn around. And finally, he wins the championship. So congratulations to him. I think that he now jump ship back to the NFL because he has an unfinished business there. And he would be a guy, I would say that he could go to the Chargers and he could do well there. Turn that team around.
I think he could coach in the NFL. First of all, congrats, shout outs. I did think that Michigan would win. I did think this game was closer than it looked. You and I were talking about that before we actually started recording. Like we felt like the game was closer, just a one turnover thing around. Yeah. But I will say the way that he had his kids ready to run through walls, the fact that they were able to single cover Washington wide receivers was just he had his team ready.
They looked like the Ravens, like we said last week. Like, if you had to compare a team in the NFL and them, like it's the Ravens. Like that's the identity. Just tough in the trenches, tough on defense. Stick with your guys. He got him ready, man. Like
I think he could do it. I think he could do it. I think he could come to the NFL. I will say, you know what, dude? I get it if he stays. Like when I was watching that game and I was watching how happy he was, and I think that what happened this year probably will propel him. I think that anybody thinking that he's super happy with NCAA right now is just.
I think that's going to push.
Right. It's definitely in consideration. I'm sure it's impacting his decision, but I will say there is a part of me that I do think, like if he did stay, I like on some level, I get it. I get it a little bit because he just seemed like that's his school. That's his alma mater. The kids love him and he's such a leader of men. But do I think he could go and do I think he'd make the Chargers better tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
I do. Yeah.
I just think that, he's finished. Like he's not a guy who just settles.
Yeah.
Every stop in his career, his coaching career, San Diego State, Stanford, the 49ers, then Michigan, he could have stayed at San Diego State and, owned the Big West or whatever, Mountain West. He could have stayed at Stanford and, owned the Pac-12 or Pac-10 at that time. But he's a guy who always takes the hard road and he likes to be challenged.
Right.
And so that's why I think that he got his job finished. And obviously the NCAA stuff, I think is pushing him out too. And he now has his one last thing to check off. And that's that Super Bowl that he was so close to getting with the Niners. So,
yeah,
I mean, people forget he turned around a Niner team. Those teams won 4 games, 5 games. Like they were not anything near 500. The first year he comes in, he takes them to the NFC Championship game with Alex Smith.
Right.
Like he turned Alex Smith's career around in 1 year. And so people forget about that. And they were a dynasty at that point. Like he made them into a great program again, what the 49ers used to be. So he's great. I think he goes, but I'm really, really happy for him. A big fan of him.
And it seems like he's a little bit more defensive minded. And I think the Chargers would be a good fit because of like a Kellen Moore. You know, they already have Kellen.
But he used to be a quarterback though, too. So like he is that defensive, tough-minded coach, but he does know he has the eyes for the quarterback.
Okay.
Like he changed Alex Smith's career around. Like he made Alex Smith a semblance of a number one pick that he was. So I think that Justin Herbert would really, really benefit from him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild that is he an offensive coach? It'd be wild if he is an offensive guru, because in my mind, he's such a defense. When I think of Stanford, like, yeah, McCaffrey, you know, but when I think of Stanford, I think like Sherman. Like I think those hard-nosed defensive teams. Like when I think of the Niners in that dynasty, I think of like the first thing he turned around with were those Niners defenses. Like he had those fools running through walls. Like I
think he is a defensive coach. Like you can be both, but I know he played quarterback at Michigan, you know, so he has that
offensive mind
at least, for at least the quarterback position. But I think he is a defensive coach too. Like you see it every team he goes to.
Their defense, unless he's got like the most secret defensive coordinator of all time, who nobody else will hire for no reason. Like he's obviously really good at. Yeah, he's obviously really good at both. So, anyways, all right, big thing going on, Big Z. Congrats again to Michigan. I was right, you were wrong. Here we go, NFL. All right. So here's a chance of redemption, Big Z. We're going to keep track through the playoffs, people. We're going to keep track. We're going to keep a tally of who was right, who was wrong. So Big Z he's got his fancy computer out. He's going to do that so he can beat me. He beat me last year in the postseason, I believe. He's probably going to beat me again. It is what it is. But we're going to give it our best shot. So first matchup that's been set, it's set in stone. It is going to be Saturday at 1:30 Pacific, because everybody else gives you the Eastern. I'm giving you the Pacific.
That's right, baby.
So you Easterners need to do the math and figure out what time that'd be for you. I'll give you a hint, somewhere around 4:30. Browns and Texans. Browns and Texans, Big Z.
I'm going Texans, man.
You're going Texans?
Yes, sir.
Oh boy, do I take the dude? Here's the thing about this game. I love what Joe Flacco's doing. Like I love that Joe Flacco is already a dog. You look at the games he's played. He's already got 1,616 yards, 13 TDs, 8 interceptions, because he doesn't care. And he's throwing around. You know, they got Ford. You know, they got Cooper just playing lights out. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be so lame for us to start this way. But like, I'm riding with you, dude. I can't root against. I cannot bring myself to root against CJ Stroud. Like I love so badly for them to win.
It's because we feel like we're like his little fan club, because we were just like,
we were on him. We said this is the best quarterback in the draft.
If you don't take him number one, like
we told everybody. So we told everybody.
Kind of like a proud dad, you know, like this. It's our boy. You know, he's our boy. Thriving, dude. He's thriving.
He's my boy, and he's from SoCal, from Rancho.
That's right, bro.
You know, I'm like 10 minutes from his school. Mm-hmm. You know, like he's a dog. I love the Nico Collins story of Nico coming, and like I love that how the camaraderie that when you watch Tank Dell, Nico is like equally as excited for him as he is for Nico, and Tank is excited for Nico, and it doesn't matter who's scoring.
The coach, Niners defensive coordinator last year,
hyped.
Got the option, or got the opportunity, and he ran with it, dude. So
right. I think the only guy not happy with his team is probably Pierce. Yes.
Right.
Everybody thought he was going to have a big year, and Singletary's the dude. So
right, exactly.
He's probably the only one rooting against his own team. But I think the Texans are going to get this. If you're wondering, the over/under on this thing is Cleveland minus 2.5.
Wow.
So Cleveland minus 2.5. Me and Big Z are going against that.
That's right, baby.
Over/under is 44. I got the Texans. I think they're going to be ready to run through walls. I'm going to be watching this. I can't wait So we're both going Texans on that, Big Z.
Yep.
Make sure you mark that down.
I got it.
I was a wet noodle. I followed you. But again, we were so CJ Stroud. Everybody else was like Bryce Young. Everybody's like Bryce Young. And we were like, no, CJ Stroud is the dude.
Yeah, he played at Alabama, bro. Like, what Alabama quarterbacks do well. Like, come on. He's tiny too. Let's go. Come on.
Okay, this one, here we go.
Anyway.
This one, here we go. This is on Peacock. So it's going to be harder to find.
So sign up for Peacock right now, guys.
Sign up for Peacock right now.
Figure it out. Yeah.
5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard. So somewhere around 8 o'clock for you Eastern. We got Miami and Kansas City. You got the return of Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, going to Kansas City. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now.
You go first.
I'm doing it. I'm taking the upset.
No,
give me the Dolphins, baby. Give me the Dolphins. Look, and I'll tell you why. I'm taking the Dolphins. I do not trust the Kansas City. There's a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans that are turning this on right now. Listen, I don't trust your receivers farther than I can throw them. Like outside of Rashee Rice, that's it. And Pacheco. Like Pacheco is like a huge part. He's having a great year. I really like him a lot. Obviously, you got Patty Mahomes. But man, when I look at this Dolphins team between Mostert and A-Chain and Tyreek Hill and Waddle and the mind of Josh McDaniels, I just don't know how you're going to need to score. This is my thing. Kansas City's going to need to score, and they've struggled with that all year long. Granted, they're probably going to be able to get home. So in a rare instance, I think it benefits Kansas City if they keep this low scoring. But yeah, I'm taking Miami. They're big underdogs. It's minus 4.5 for Kansas City. So they're favored. They're favored over under 44. Big Z, who you got?
Well, I'm going to take the Chiefs then. I was going to take the Dolphins, but I'm just going to take the Chiefs just because, for the drama of the show. My reasoning then for that is that it's going to be 0 degrees at kickoff. Dolphins are a team not only from the South, but from Miami.
0 degrees?
0 degrees.
Oh, God.
With wind chill. So I'm going just for that fact. I'm going with the Chiefs. And you got Mahomes. Like, they've all been saying, they're just going to click in the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen this game. And Travis Kelce's going to turn back the clock a few years. He's going to score 2 touchdowns. So I'm going with the Chiefs.
You're going with the Chiefs. All right. Yeah. There you go. So that we have some dissension here. This is good. Finally. Apologies on the first one. That was my bad.
It's okay, dude.
Just couldn't do it.
Our boy. We love our boy.
First game on Sunday. Steelers Bills. Man, I'm sorry, Mitchie, but
that's why I say it on 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Bills. There's just the problem for a lot of these games is you need to see a path forward, right? Like when I was picking between Texans and the Browns, I could see a path for the Browns to win that game, but I like the Texans.
Right.
When I picked the Dolphins over Kansas City, I could see a path. I could see a multiple paths for Kansas City to win that game, but I like the Dolphins. When I look at the Steelers and the Bills, I don't see a path for the Steelers to get this thing done. I think they're going to compete, but I think the way the Bills are playing, for them to go into Miami and hand it to them the way they did, for them to handle the Cowboys the way they did at home.
Yeah.
When I saw them handle the Cowboys, them boys, like they did, I mean,
it was
wasn't
even close.
It was bad. Yeah. It was bad. So I don't know how the Steelers go in there and win. Rudolph has to have a game. I think if you're a Steelers fan and you're listening to us, you're like, we're going to shut you up. The way that you shut us up, I think, is Najee and Warren would have to combine for somewhere around like 200 yards.
Yeah.
That's your move, because the Bills were able to contain Tyreek Hill for the most part. And you don't have Tyreek Hill. You got some good receivers, I'm not going to lie, but you don't have Tyreek Hill.
Well, and you also need your receivers to block too for Najee.
Yeah.
And if they don't block the Bills in Buffalo, especially, they're going to eat you up. Like, it's the thing with the Steelers, like they could score maybe the first, or maybe in the second drive, a field goal or a touchdown or something, but one bad thing goes wrong in that offense and the pouty faces come out, and the bad attitudes come out, and there goes your season. So, and the Bills, and I'm not just taking the Bills by default here, the Bills have earned this pick as well.
Oh, 100%. They're
They've
playing
gone
great football.
since they fired their offensive coordinator. They've gone 5-1. Like they've completely turned their season around. Again, a lot of people wrote them off, including us. And they look really, really good again. As long as Josh Allen doesn't play too much out of his system, because sometimes he plays a little too much out of that system, and creates bad plays and turnovers and situations for themselves. I think they win by 10 plus points.
Yeah. Yeah. I got the Bills. I don't know that I don't know. I'm sure out of respect for Tomlinson, I don't think they get like boat raced. I don't think they're like laughed out of the building, but I have the Bills. So that's that. That's that. Moving right along. We got the Packers and the Cowboys, and they're playing in Dallas.
They are.
So, man, if you want to take this one first, you can. I don't know if this is going to be another one we agree on, but go ahead, Big Z.
I'm going to take the Packers here.
Wow, good for you.
I think that Jordan Love has been playing lights out. Dude had second most overall touchdowns in the league. Like we don't think about that and remember that, but that many touchdowns, and his receiving core is just playing off the charts. If you have Christian Watson coming back healthy, which I think they do, and Aaron Jones is now healthy again, so you have him and AJ Dillon, that tandem's back. Man, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't think that Dak is going to get bullied too much. I think that Dak is going to do well, but I think that the Packers are going to make a stop at the end. So I think that they win by a field goal at the end, and go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. There you go. Big Z is a fan. Some more dissension. I got the Cowboys. I think if this was in Lambeau, I think it's a lot better of a game. I think it's probably a lot closer. But I think the fact that it's in Dallas, I think that's everything that Dallas wanted. I think they're going to be ready to go for this game. They're probably already watching that Desi catch, screaming at the TV that it was a catch. They're already getting hyped up. We're going to hear Dak yell, "Here we go," about 1,000 times. By the way, the line on that, Dallas minus 7.5. So big favorites. Over under is 50. So, the NFL is expecting a nice high scoring game, but I definitely got the Cowboys. I think they get it done. I think they might struggle second round, but I think for the first round, I think they can get this one. I think
it's possible.
I honestly think if Green Bay does this, it's kind of funny. You were talking about Jordan Love, but I think the pathway for Green Bay, if they win this game, I think it's got to be Aaron Jones. So he looks healthy. Yeah. He looked great last year. I think Aaron Jones, if you're a Packer fan and you're wanting them to win this game, you're looking for Aaron Jones to rush for over 100, 150 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Like you need a big day from Aaron Jones. You need vintage Aaron Jones. That's how the Cowboys have gotten chewed up recently is via the run game. Yeah. So I think that's your path forward, but I just like the Cowboys too much. The next pick for me is going to be obvious. I feel like Big Z's going to go the other way. Just mess with me. But 5 o'clock, the Rams and the Lions. I'm obviously going Rams. I'm a Rams fan. Here's what I'm going to say. Detroit has a better team on paper. Okay. Like I'm not arguing that. So there's not like some logical argument that you all like when you look at Sam Laporta versus Tyler Higbee, Sam Laporta. When you look at Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery versus Kyron Williams, those two for sure combined, probably Gibbs alone, them over Kyron. Yeah. The one advantage that I think we have, and this is why I'm taking the Rams, outside of the fact that obviously I'm a Rams fan, so I'm going to take my team. But the one advantage is that we have Matt Stafford. We have the X factor in this game. I was talking to Jason the Showman Stroman, and he led off the conversation by saying, I think you're going to disagree with what's about to come out of my mouth. And I think Big Z would too. And I think, okay, well, good. And he said, I think the best quarterback in the NFC right now in these playoffs, you're going to disagree with me, is Dak. And I was like, I do disagree with you, but not for the reasons you think. I disagree with you for a different reason than Big Z might. I disagree with you because I think the football that Matt Stafford is playing right now is possessed. And since he's come on with his with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Kyron on the field, they have the number one offense in the league in terms of scoring. So I think Matt Stafford gets it done. I think this is probably a very high scoring game. I'm not going to lie to you. But I like the Rams. I think they go in. I think they get it done. I think Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are going to be just a little bit too much for the Lions to deal with. So I'm riding my Rams. Big Z, who you got?
I got the Lions. I think that the Giants played Matthew Stafford really well 2 weeks ago, and Matthew Stafford had actually a really bad game.
Yeah.
So if the Lions are smart, and I think that Dan Campbell is, and Dan Campbell is also a very defensive minded coach, he's going to look at that film and figure out what the Giants, one of the worst defenses in the league, did against Matthew Stafford and that team. And it's in Detroit. If this is in LA, I would flip my pick, but it is in Detroit, and Jared Goff plays a lot better at home, as we talked about. I think the Lions win. I think it's going to be close, but I'm taking the Lions just because they do have more weapons overall.
And we'll see. I mean, if Sam Laporta, I think what also helps us is that, I mean, and obviously I didn't root for this. I want the best for Sam Laporta. I think he's really, really good. But, with that injury, we'll see if he comes back from it, how he's doing there. That could be
Thank God it wasn't like a terrible, it looked bad, but
it looked horrible.
It wasn't, I guess, as bad. It was just a hyperextension. I mean, I shouldn't say just.
They're saying. We'll see. It's the playoffs.
If it's an ACL, bro. Like,
it's the playoffs, though. They're not, no coach is going to come out and be like, yeah, he's done for the season. Like, when you make the playoffs, I think you're going to keep it a little close to the chest. But, hey, Vegas agrees with us. They only got the Detroit by -3. So this is one of the closer games. We've talked about it so far. And I think, like you said, the Giants, I think the Giants are just like any other team, though. Like you look at what they just did to Philadelphia. The last couple games, they've been playing some pretty decent football. They absolutely handed it to Philadelphia. Again, I'm not saying that Philadelphia is any kind of great at this moment in time, but the fact that they beat Philadelphia in New York, it made me feel better about that win for the Rams getting out there with the W. So I'm hoping that they can figure it out. Again, Matt Stafford, I think, this is the home. This is his home. This is the stadium that he built. Right. He was there through their dog years, so he's got plenty to play for. And in terms of being like a Rams fan, there's a lot of, I understand, and we're talking about the same thing as we speak. This whole storyline, the storylines come out about like Matt Stafford. They let Jared Goff go, and all the media's jumping all over. They let Jared Goff go. There's a chance of revenge. Like the Rams already won the breakup. They won the Super Bowl. So it's not a real conversation at this point, right? Like the Rams traded away Jared Goff, got Matt Stafford, won the Super Bowl. That was the goal, right? That was the point. No one thought that 2 years later, the Rams were going to be sitting here after they mortgaged their future, quote unquote, and they're going to be sitting here in the playoffs with a nasty offense. So I'm excited. I think the Rams got a shot in this thing.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's one of the closer games.
I do think that Jared Goff comes into a little butthurt.
Yeah, he should. As he should. Yeah, I think he should. I think he should have a chip on his shoulder.
Look what you missed. Like I led this team to the playoffs. Like in year 2.
I got to the Super Bowl.
And he's talking about the Lions. Like I led this Lions team to the playoffs last year. We were one game out of the playoffs.
So close. And we were rooting for him.
So like I don't know. Like I think he has a chip on his shoulder. So
I hope that he does, because all I need is for Jared Goff to try. All I need for Jared Goff to do is to not be the game manager. And we're in with a shot for sure. Like if we can get him to start hucking the ball around the field and just start picking him off like that, that's perfect. Like if the Lions come out, put a nine play drive together with like Gibbs, and because I mean the road for the Lions is easy to see, dude. Montgomery and Gibbs just chewing us up, doing their thing. But if we leave it in the hands of Goff, I like our chances. So I got the Rams, you got the Lions. So that's a
lot of difference, man. A lot of differences.
Yeah. We did it. Oh wait, one more game. There's a Monday night game.
Yep. And I'm going with the Bucks.
Boy, Bucks Eagles. Why would you make this your Monday night game
in Tampa Bay?
Why would you make this one your Monday night game?
NFL likes the Eagles. They like Philadelphia because Roger Goodell's from Philadelphia, and they always want to give them the rest. That's a fact. So don't argue with me.
I'm not going to argue with you. Is AJ Brown okay? Do we know AJ Brown?
Yeah, he said he's hurt, but he's going to be okay.
How about Devontae Smith? Is he playing?
I don't know yet.
Dude, I want Tampa Bay to win, because I love the Baker Mayfield story. Like we talked about it, what he's done, just a year removed from Tom Brady,
Right.
Like I'm in love with this story. I've loved Mike Evans for years.
Right.
For years, I think he's been just completely ignored. And you look at his numbers, very similar to Devontae Adams, who everybody loves and adores.
Right.
Talks about Hall of Fame. Mike Evans is right there, especially consistency wise, with different quarterbacks. That's the other thing.
Right.
Devontae Adams had Rodgers throwing him for years.
Exactly. Right.
Evans has done it with 6 different quarterbacks, 7 different quarterbacks. So
yeah. I know. Yeah.
Just terrible. I couldn't list to you all the quarterbacks he's done it with. Gosh, dude, I want Tampa Bay to win. And the Eagles are terrifying. I mean, they just got stomped by the Giants.
And they have no defense.
And they started their starters. This wasn't like, when the Rams went to Frisco and beat Frisco last game, that didn't mean anything. But neither of us played our starters. It was it was the battle of the bats. It was Carson Wentz. That game was more about Carson Wentz versus what's his name? Sam Darnold than anything else, and Carson Wentz won the battle. I have zero to no faith in the Eagles. I mean, this is crazy. Gosh, Biggsy, you're gonna make me do it. Oh man. There's Eagles fans just getting so tilted right now. Just so tilted.
Let them get tilted. That's all they thrive on being tilted.
They thrive on being tilted. They love being tilted. Okay, wait. So let me rephrase it. Hold on. Do I need a win at this point? So in our first game, Browns, Texans, we both took the Texans.
Yep. And then we
Dolphins
differed on that.
Dolphins, Chiefs. I took the Dolphins, you took the Chiefs.
And then differed on Cowboys, Packers, differed on Rams, Lions. So we have 3 different
but Dolphins Chiefs scares me. I could see the Packers pulling an upset. I can see the Rams pulling an upset. Dolphins Chiefs scares me. All right, I'm going to do the safe thing here, even though it's not safe. Oh, God, Rachaad White is playing super well. Oh, and it's in Tampa Bay.
It is.
Man, give me the Bucks. I can't do it. Give me the Bucks. I can't. I just can't do it. I was trying. I was trying every way. Did you hear me trying to talk myself into the Eagles?
So hard. So hard.
I was trying so hard. Jalen Hurts is still good. We have AJ Brown, but in Tampa Bay, oh man.
Oh man.
And obviously it was a different quarterback. It was Tom Brady, but I remember how difficult it was to play in Tampa Bay. It came down to a last second big throw, not a Hail Mary, but a big throw to Cooper Kupp to set up the field goal. Of course, we were playing against the GOAT, Tom Brady, but still, I mean, that was a tough place to play.
Right.
Give me Tampa Bay, man. Give me Tampa Bay.
That's
so
it.
I just need the Rams and the Dolphins to do it. I have faith in CeeDee Lamb, so I think the Cowboys can do it.
Yeah, I can't believe that Jason thinks that Dak is better than Matt Stafford.
I can't
believe it.
I will say this: when I mentioned Matt Stafford, he was like, you might be right. You might be right. I think he thought that you and I would argue Brock.
Well, I mean, I'll argue that all day, but
right. Well, I think that's where he thought I was going with it, but I didn't. I'm not saying I agree with him. All I'm saying was my mind immediately went to, dude, Matt Stafford is, when I look across these playoffs,
right. I
mean, Lamar Jackson obviously is transcendent. When I look around these playoffs, and I think I need somebody to stand in the pocket and just deliver and be the dude, be the old gunslinger. Matt Stafford gives us a shot. I'll ride my dude all day long. Just like
Dak. Yeah, man. You talking about Dak? He has to prove it, man. If they bow out again, you can't pay him.
You can't.
You can't. Dak disappears in the playoffs. He always does.
Yeah.
That's his legacy.
Yeah.
So he has to shut us up.
But I think the best part to me was that, Jason's already talking about, maybe it's not the Super Bowl, but I will say he's already said, I think if the Cowboys lose to Green Bay, I think Jason would accept that Dak is not the guy. But I think in his mind, he's okay with losing to the Niners. I think he's already justifying that. And I'm like, no. If Dak is the guy, you have to believe that you can beat anyone. Because I believe it. I'm not going to say that I love our chances, but should we have to go to Frisco, I would sit here and say the same darn thing I'm saying today to the Lions.
Oh,
if Matt Stafford is under center, we are in with a shot.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, when Jimmy G was there, I was like, same thing. When we played against you guys and you guys had the obvious better team, I was like, no, we got this. I mean, it was close, three points, but you know, you believe, like, as a Dodger fans, you and me, those teams back in like 08, 09, you know, early like 2010s, those years, like those weren't the best teams, but we're like, no, they're going to win the World Series. Of course they're going to win. Like they're going to sweep all these teams. You know, like
Dick Mountain going to the Cubs. Get us our one win, baby.
Come on, bro. Come on, Jason. Like, don't be a Cowboy fan. Like, don't be like that Cowboy fan. Like, just get behind your team. Come on, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, he believes. Here we go. He believes. He does believe. He does believe. I think what he's trying to do when we talk about the Cowboys, he's trying to set himself up.
Softening the fall a little
bit. Like softening the blow.
I mean, come on, bro.
He's believed in Dak. He has to keep believing, I think.
Yeah, well, apparently he's already lost some faith.
Apparently. I mean, I think I can see in his defense, Frisco is kind of, when you look across at Frisco and you're like, hey, their defense is really good. McCaffrey's the best running back in the league.
I mean, I have receipts that he said the Dallas defense is the best. Dak is great. Blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, hey, man.
When they play, we're going to have a before and after. We're going to have Jason on the show the week before and then the week after.
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to happen because the Rams are going to take somebody.
You got to back your team up, bro. Come on.
It ain't going to happen because the Rams are going to take somebody out. So we're going to do it. Anyway, that's the playoffs. I'm watching this week. We made our picks. You heard them here. Do not use those to bet. Okay, we are not liable. We are just having fun.
Yeah,
this has been fun. Big Z, say bye to the people.
People, goodbye for this week. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe out there. It's cold, windy, but well, at least here in California. Other places, it's a lot worse, I'm sure. But stay safe, because I know we have listeners all across this country, every single state. So
every single state.
Have a great rest of your week and enjoy the playoffs this weekend.
Thank you so much for listening. Continue to tell your friends. We love it. We love seeing the numbers grow. Continue to help us do that. We really appreciate you guys listening, both here and on YouTube. You're amazing. Well, again, this is available where everybody, wherever you can listen. Spotify, Apple, whatever you want to listen to. Thank you again for listening. Keep telling your friends. Keep sharing us. We love it. We love it. We love it. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.